So this is a prototype built on the Microsoft Surface for what an engage and attract application might look like in a car dealership. What we did here was we built a virtual town with autonomous cars that sort of drive around along the roads. This was meant to be the sort of attract mode of one of these devices within a dealership. We know that in a dealership people are traditionally kind of nervous and anxious about purchasing a new car. So the goal of this attract mode was to sort of disarm people and give them something, a different kind of brand experience than they would expect in a dealership. Some of the interesting things about this town is that it's completely customizable. You know, you can move things around and set up the town how you'd like. You can move the buildings around, place them in different spots, move the trees around, and obviously even move the cars around. You can place cars sort of in the way, and then the cars, you know, run them over, but he's okay. Also things like fire hydrants and things like that, causing a little bit of chaos. So that's sort of the fun aspect of it. The idea is that someone would walk up to this with some ambient lights and sort of decide to start interacting with it, at which point a salesperson might walk up to them and say, you know, would you like to learn more about our vehicles, and would present his key, which uses the optical surface tags to launch a vehicle chooser where they would choose, you know, one of the vehicles from whatever brand this the Surface was placed in. They could pick, let's say, the sports car, and then they're presented with a steering wheel where by touching the steering wheel and driving, I'm actually driving a sports car. Let me grab him, bring him over here so he's closer. And you can see that I'm actually controlling this car and then interacting with the rest of the town and all the other drivers in it. Now, if I drive up to one of the buildings, it triggers some information about the car that I'm driving based on the building that I ran into. So I ran into the school, and I get some safety features up here, giving me some light information about the car that I'm driving. But really, it's more about fun than it is about research. You know, changing the color and such. And then I can go around and collect all the different icons. It's a very sort of light type of game. I think I have to go to the grocery last. Oh no, I already did that. I think it's the over here. And such. I get the mileage, and then what happens is once you collect all the things in your car, it becomes like I got some fire coming out of the back of my car. So there's a pseudo game aspect to it, but really it's just about light interaction and maybe having a bit of fun dragging the cow around or harassing the picnickers or causing cars to run into benches. Now, to take this a little bit further, the key that was put down by the salesperson actually triggered a unique ID, which created this car. And I might have done some light customization on this car, but when the point comes to get a little bit more serious about purchasing the car, the dealer, you know, can sort of clear the area and launch an alternate view, which is a much more, you've seen sort of mocked up here, which would be a much more collaborative space for choosing features, colors, and price on the car that I just started customizing in a sort of cartoony way. We take it to another level where we're actually choosing very specific features. And this is done in a sort of dual-sided dialogue where as we're adding things and taking things away, we're both seeing the prices change. It's a very open way to interact across a table rather than the traditional sort of the dealer looking at a screen and the customer on the other end not really knowing what's going on. It's a very transparent way, and it could happen sort of right out in the floor or in an office where it seemed, where it might be also valuable. And you know, the different panels could be tossed across to each other. We think this will facilitate a much more open conversation, and again, continue that sort of relaxed and more transparent brand sort of perception, and sort of disarm the customer from that sort of anxious mood that we know that they're in. And then, of course, when that's finished, all of that is saved through the machine down into the database, which then could be connected to a printer, and at the end of the customization, if the customer doesn't choose to purchase it, a little card could be printed out representing the car that they worked on and customized together, and that car would also have some optical tags on the bottom, and could be given to the customer for the next time they return. Then dropping the car on the surface would bring up all that information again. So that the information is never lost, and this becomes a reminder to continue the sales process. Of course, also having things like the salesperson's name and phone number. And that's Carville.